In today's show, Brandon Sprague back on the program. We talk about the youngsters, Scoot Henderson, Shaden Sharpe, and everybody else. Welcome to Locked On Blazers. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Trailblazers, your daily Portland Trailblazers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, world? It's past first point guard and Trailblazers reporter Mike Richmond. You are listening to another episode of Locked On Blazers, part of Locked On Podcast Network, available wherever you get podcasts and also on YouTube. Back again, joining us for the second day in a row, Brandon Sprague of Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan and the Jacked Ramsays podcast. Yesterday's show, if you missed it, we talked all about Damian Lillard, and we're still here talking about the youngsters now. Give me on a scale of 1 to let's go 100 just so it can be broad. What is your excitement level about Scoot Henderson?
9.5. I mean a 10. He has a lot of the similar. He seems like a hybrid of a couple players that I like, and I know you've got some kind of like pushback a little bit in the basketball world of, hey, the athleticism. I'm not sure. You know, he's not as quick as people think he is, and like I get it. He's not Ja Morant. Okay, I think he's physically ready. And pairing the G League kind of knowledge and experience with being in the league and playing against maybe a couple guys he recognizes and being a little more familiar with the game speed and the kind of thinking of everything. I think he's got a chance to make a big impact quick. He's obviously going to have some lulls in his rookie year, but I think for the most part, him being who he is itself kind of speeds up to me maybe expectation of rebuild and like when can they take that leap to be a playing team again once they get to that point. And that's kind of where he leaves me going into the season, which is an exciting place.
Yeah, the comp I like is John Wall. I've heard Baron Davis. I like Baron Davis. That's a good comp for him. John Wall, I like. He's probably not Russell Westbrook in terms of that like top 1% athleticism, but if he's top 10% athletic, that's pretty good. I think he's going to be a very good player. I'm not a big draft Nick. Like I don't, it's just not my thing. I watch the NBA. I don't have time. I can't.
Right.
I only got so much time to spend. So I don't, it's not like I'm like, oh, he's the best for me. It's like, he's the best since blah, 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 or the best player I've scouted. I just like, I've done my research. I've talked to the people who know stuff. Friend of the program, Raphael Barlow, who's like a professional NBA draft scout. And It's like, folks who do this professionally think he's going to be really, really good. Sam Vecini, who I really trust, loves Scoot Henderson. People get stuff wrong. He might not be that, but I think he has a chance to be an all-star in his rookie deal. I think he has a chance to be that good. I'm much higher on Scoot than I am on Shaden Sharpe. And I think Shaden Sharpe's going to be a very good basketball player. For me, what sets Scoot apart is that he's played 2 years of professional basketball and he seems to really understand the game. We saw him play 21 minutes in Summer League, and I was like, yeah, that's cool. Like he can go. What are your expectations for him in year one? Like, is this a he should be rookie of the year type, or are you dialing it back a little bit?
No, I think he's definitely in play for rookie of the year. I don't think that's crazy. The only thing that stops him is his own teammate. Yeah. Unfortunately for them, and I know we're not getting to it today. They have a Anfernee Simons showcase season here, so they can get a return on draft and picks and players and all that stuff. And so unfortunately, he's going to be a little off ball and not have as ball dominant. But I think him. I think there's a couple guys in this draft, Mike, that I would take flyers on to bet rookie of the year. I think Wemby could definitely be it, but like he's such an overwhelming favorite that the other guys inherently have value. Plus, the maturity of Scoot kind of changes everything for me. Like I think Scoot's just maturity. Like, what am I looking for? I'd love to see all rookie. I'd like to see him close to winning rookie of the year, or maybe he's in the conversation for a hot minute. I want him to look like he belongs. I think that's an underrated element of watching rookies. And, the thing for me, this might be a little much, but I'm going to throw it in there. I think because of the experience in the G League, because of the maturity he seems to display already and being kind of media savvy. And I love that he's leaning into the fro. Like, we better bring the 70s throwbacks back this year. So he's got the high socks and the fro. I'm looking for leadership. I look at this roster right now and let's pretend Dame is not on it. Let's pretend they're moving Nurkic, though I don't even know about that anymore.
Right.
The leaders are
Jeremy Grant somehow. but he doesn't seem to be like a big,
Grant,
loud vocal leader, right?
Jeremy Grant's a good example of what a veteran is. Jeremy Grant's not, hey, rah, 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 rah. Hey, guys, rah, rah, rah. Jeremy Grant is like, yo, I just dropped 25 points and I'm going to go meditate now. You know, like he's showing them the good way to live. I think there's a real void because I don't think this is Shaedon either. I think Scoot, on top of all of it, Mike, like I'd love to see X amount of games where Scoot dominates and he's at midcourt, just screaming. You can feel that the team vibes off of the intensity and kind of follows his lead. So it's a bit much, but I'm actually looking for leadership the most because I think he's kind of it for them.
He does have the characteristics to be that. I 100% agree. Can you do that at 19? In some cases, I think there is like a lead and will follow even with teenagers. Like I think this is like a bad example, but I think the 2007 Cavs, when LeBron came in, we're like, oh yeah, he's the guy. We'll follow him. Like we'll go, he goes type of thing. That's like, you know, maybe at worst the third best player in the history of basketball. And for me, he ain't 3. So that might be a little much, but I do think there is a void of leadership on the team. You mentioned Ant. What do you think about the Ant and Scoot pairing? I think those are your, assuming Dame's not on the team or isn't with the team, I think that's your starting backcourt. What do you make of that duo?
I think it's only a matter of time until you make a decision. It's
right.
Stop. I'm not playing this game again. Like I'll get in arguments about this. I'm done with this 6'3" and under backcourt. Like stop. Scoot seems by all measure, seems like he needs the ball in his hands, right? He's a 30% 3-point shooter, so he's not an off-ball guy that's going to catch and shoot.
And moreover, he's really good in pick and rolls. You want him to do what he does, not just the things he doesn't do well. You want to maximize what you don't want to just say, okay, he's going to struggle. You want to say, what does he do best? Why can't he just do what he does best all the time?
And Ant's at a point in his career where it's like he's going to kind of go out there and like, I kind of know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, and I operate better with the ball.
And he's the best guard on the team right now. It might not be for long, but like Ant is very clearly the best guard on the team today.
Yeah. And I just, there is a part of me, it's dumb. I get it. But like, I worry about, growth, what the impact is, how long it goes. Are we sure Ant's traded at the deadline? Are we sure? Like, let me throw this at you. What if I tell you Ant drops 25 a game, 7 assists and 4 boards while shooting 40% from 3? Like, he's 23 years old. I want people to think of all the realms of possibility.
He's actually 24 now, Brandon.
24.
Okay.
Thank you. It's right. He just turned 24. But my point is, I think most of it, I'm just assuming this is build Ant value because we kept hearing Ant was valuable and they're going to move him and then they didn't. So I think it's about building his value. And so until then, Scoot kind of takes a slight back seat to it.
Yeah, personally, I think there is no issue in Scoot Henderson, Anfernee Simons, and Shaden Sharpe for this year. I think there's no problem. I think you can go through the deadline and like roll with it. Ant is, he's not like crazy older than them. He's 24. He's not on this big bloated contract that's going to mess up your other moves. If there is a good deal at the trade deadline, absolutely go for it. If there's not, I don't think it's a problem to run this thing for a full year and kind of figure out what you have, what works, because I'm not 100% sure Shaden Sharpe is ready to play 35 minutes a night in the NBA. I bet he's totally comfortable playing 30. I think he's more 2 than 3. We could talk about him in a second. So like, I don't think it behooves them to play more 3 guard stuff. But if there is a year to be like a little bit undersized and just collecting data, I don't think it hinders your development necessarily for this season. I think there is a real decision to make come next summer about what this team looks like, but so much of that hinges on what they do with Dame. Like what that outcome is will influence me a little bit. I get what you're saying though, like the idea of just like to go from Dame and CJ to Dame and Ant to Scoot and Ant is like, oh, okay. Like how could they do the same thing again, right? Like if you're gonna the path forward for really good teams is plus length at the middle positions. 2, 3, and 4, you need to have plus length. That's kind of just like the best teams are long and big at those spots. You could be a little smaller at the 1. You could be a little. You can kind of, well, maybe not anymore with Jokic, but before you could be maybe a little smaller at the 5 or a little just like leaner at the 5. But like plus length at 2, 3, and 4 is the path to being good. And the Blazers have to see that path. And I think Shaedon Sharpe kind of has that. I want to ask you about him in the second segment, folks. Join us there, won't you? Today's show is brought to you by Ibotta. Look, you're going to spend money this summer and heading back to school, so why not get a little cash back while you do it? Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. The average Ibotta user earns $120 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, or you could use that cash back to buy maybe a flight upgrade that you've been eyeing, or get some tickets to the game you want to go to, or maybe a fancy dinner that you want to take yourself out to. Other apps are going to give you points. They don't really amount to much. With Ibotta, you get real cash back. You can cash out to your bank account, or to your PayPal account, or to gift cards, however you want to use it. Plus, you can earn cash back on hundreds of online brands and retailers. So start with Ibotta and earning cash back on Lowe's, at Macy's, at Sephora, at Best Buy, and more. And right now, Ibotta is offering my listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKED when you register. Go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app. Use that code LOCKED. That's Ibotta, IBOTTA, in the Google Play or App Store, and use that code LOCKED. All right, still chatting with Brandon Sprague and Nathan Fan and Jacked Ramsays. You've heard him. Shaedon Sharpe, year 2. You called him Baby Kobe last year. Baby Kobe is pretty high praise, Brandon. Have you come off that ledge, or have we entered year 2? Kobe Bryant was an all-star in year 2.
Yeah, I don't see that happening for him. Again, you highlight the rotation. I actually don't think they're going to start him at 3 at all. They have no bench scoring. So, hey, Shaedon Sharpe, come on down.
Agreed.
Yeah, the Baby Kobe thing was more just like watching him do a little shimmy shake, and the way his athleticism. I know a lot of Blazer fans comp him to Roy. I've heard that a lot as well.
I hate that comp. It doesn't make any sense.
I don't see that either, but like people think he flows like Roy. That's not my thing.
His pull-up game is bad. Like the thing he's bad at is dribbling into shots. If he has space, he can do it. But Brandon Roy was the best at rising up in a phone booth and scoring in the mid-range. Like, that's what made him special. I've heard the comp. I don't like it.
Yeah, the Roy handle was a little better too. Like, Shaedon can only dribble so much. And anyways, Kobe, year 2. I would certainly like to see it.
Yeah.
But this is where I get a little hung up. I like Shaedon a lot. I'm looking forward to seeing Shaedon real minutes, real games. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not one of those people that says everything from Summer League is what it is, Like, I get he had a bad game in the Summer League, but I thought he made up for it. Anyways, I'm not worried. Worried wouldn't be the right word. I'm a little interested in watching how much give a damn there is. There's a little bit of... If I was doing like a buzzer, one of 2 ways, right? Like, this way is Kobe, this way is Andrew Wiggins. There's a little bit of like, it's going towards Wiggins here. And I'm not saying he can't prove me wrong. I'm not saying he can't be a Kobe type killer on the court. I'm more like, I saw that dunk in Summer League and he yelled at that guy, and then I didn't see it again. And I kind of like having a little FU with the hyper athletic guy. I think it shows kind of inner side and, competitiveness, all that good stuff that you want to label. And so I'm monitoring that before I completely buy in that he's Kobe year 2.
Yeah. I think my chief concern, I don't know if that's even right, but like, is when a guy's engine doesn't run hot, and he's excellent, it's Nikola Jokic, right? And you're like, that is so cool. That is so cool. I love that he's like that. And when a guy's engine doesn't run super hot and he struggles, then it's like Andrew Bynum or Michael Olowokandi or something. And it's like, oh, I don't know if this dude enjoys playing basketball, right? And so I will say, like, maybe it's just a temperament thing. Like, Shaedon he is the way he is, and like
quiet-natured, good kid,
right. And so maybe it'll end up being this thing was like, man, he doesn't look like he cares, and he whoops your ass. Like, it's fun, right? And it'll be a thing that we like. But I'm with you. There is part of me that says, okay, that's worth monitoring. That's worth looking at and being like, okay, what's this guy like? What's his vibe? And and you mentioned this with the leadership vacuum. I worry that on a team that doesn't have that somebody who's just going to turn the key in his back, so to speak, crank him up a little bit, that it could get worse, right? Like when you have Damian Lillard or whatever, like that leadership, that guidance, it's like when you're on the court, you play. Like come out and be ready, and because otherwise I'm going to cuss you out in the locker room, and et cetera, et cetera. When the person who we're asking to lead is the coolest dude on earth, Jeremy Grant, or a 19-year-old Shaedon Sharpe, or like whatever Nurk does, it worries me that, like you said, that buzzer can continue to lean the other way. That said, he has the tools to be really good. Really good. And I want to see him play a bunch. Like I said, he might not be ready for 35, like true every night star minutes, but 30 minutes a night for Shaden Sharp, I think, is a must. They got to figure out a way to get him on the court.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if this dude's, I'll actually be surprised if he's not playing more than 32 minutes a night. You need to see everything, right? Like when you're rebuilding and you're also evaluating the young talent you grabbed, like we know how they kind of felt about him as a prospect, given they didn't trade the 7th pick. I think they're going to play him a whole ton. I mean, if you're playing him 15 minutes as a rookie when no one thought he was going to get minutes, I would imagine you're naturally playing him 32, 33 minutes a night. And I think I think you could argue it's the best thing. It's the like rookie quarterback thing. Like, should you throw a rookie out? I've always believed you should. Like, that's the most important position. You need to see if they can handle it. I kind of feel that way about young basketball players. Like, I don't like bringing them along slowly. Like, I wanted him to play 15 minutes a night. And as much as it was puzzling to people, I was like, yeah, they're actually doing it. I want to see them go past 30. And so, maybe not even a Kobe bar here in terms of that give a damn, but like maybe I alter that to even Klay Thompson. You could not.
That's a good one. Yeah.
A more laid back, weed smoking, West Coast chilling,
allegedly
choosing to go to Washington State and be in Pullman for a few years, dude, than Klay Thompson. And he gets in the league, he figures out he belongs, and he's in your face. Like that dude has a different personality when he plays. And yeah, that too.
And he's always pointing to his rings, but I think he's that's a really good one. He does seem laid back. He doesn't, it's like this guy, maybe he doesn't care. He's like, maybe doesn't watch the NBA on his off nights, but he is very competitive. And there's no question about his competitive spirit. I think Jokic is the same way. Like,
yes,
he's extremely competitive. He maybe doesn't love playing basketball. It's maybe like his 5th favorite thing, but like he's really competitive when he plays. So the demeanor you want to see from Shea maybe isn't like he doesn't need to be rename himself with like a nickname after a snake or anything like that. But he just the very obvious want to, I think, is a pretty good judgment for him. And I think you'll be able to see that by like Christmas, right? You'll be able to 35 games in, you'll be like, yeah, okay. He's the dial's turned up. Like when he's here, he's here. And I'm with you. They should, in other contexts, slow playing young guys is useful in the Blazers context. If he plays 24 minutes a night, it's stupid. Play him give him as much rope as he can possibly handle. And then when he proves he can't handle it, still give it to him, because they got to figure out what he is. And the minutes and the reps, they super matter. Okay. Stick around. Can we play a game in the third segment? You want to play a little game and I'll let you get out of here?
I love to play games, man. I'm in.
All right. Join us in that third segment, won't you? Still a pass first point guard. Still Mike Richmond. Still listen to Locked On Blazers. We're going to shift gears a little bit. Play a little game called What's More Likely? Sprague, I'm going to give you 2 things, and you're going to tell me what's more likely. We'll start with this one. Damian Lillard has played his last game in a Blazers jersey, or Damian Lillard wears a Blazer jersey in 2024. What's more likely?
Oh, the former. I'm going to go with Dame played his last game as a Blazer, which, probably should have been a possibility in our minds in the moment, but nobody talked about it. Nobody wanted to acknowledge it. And so it kind of,
the GM kept saying they were going to go all in and overpay for a star.
No, I know. But like just the idea of it, like, Mike, you wanted to maybe do a trivia game. And I'm like, oh, I'm bad at trivia. You could quiz me right now. What was Dame Lillard's last game as a Blazer? What were the points he scored? What was the team he played? I would not know. And I should know. That's
March 20th. March 22nd in Utah against the Jazz. Shaedon Sharpe's first start in the NBA, second start in the NBA. Him, Ant, and Shea all scored 20, and the dream was real. And they beat the Jazz, and the team said, "No, never again." Also, asterisk. Damian Lillard played his 58th game that night, which was the minimum number of games you need to qualify for the league leaders at the end of the season. Everybody knew 58 was the number. Yeah. Chris Haynes tried to tell us. We listened. Okay, what's more likely? Anfernee Simons scores his age, that's 24 points per game, or Shaden Sharpe scores his jersey number, 17 points per game.
Shaden's averages last year were, what was his points? It was
9.9 for the year, but during that stretch when he played, when he got the green light, 23.7 over the final 10 games. Prior to that, though, he only scored 17 points 3 times. He was playing about 16 minutes a night, averaging 9.9.
I actually hate this one probably more than the others are going to be because I think both of these are going to happen.
Oh,
man, I'm trying to think what I would gamble on. I'll go 16-9 for Shea, and I think if I'm to gamble on it, I think I definitely could score 24 points per game now.
Yeah, the year, last year was a little under that in the 22 range, but the year that he kind of like they gave him the keys, 23.4 points per game from January to March in 2022, and like the shutdown and breakout year, and that was like on the ball reps, a bunch of minutes, the guy.
Right.
And at the beginning, there was a little bit of Norman Powell there, a little bit of CJ McCollum sprinkled in right after the kid and before the trade with CJ. But like for the most part, that was the Ant show. And he averaged right in that 23.4, which is why I went with 24. I would lean Simons too, because I think at least early, he's going to play more than Shaden Sharpe. And also he already scored 20 points per game in the league, and he's easier to bank on him staying about that. Okay, what's more likely? Yusuf Nurkic makes half his shots, or Jeremy Grant plays more than half the games after the All-Star break. And let me give you some stats here. Last year, Yusuf Nurkic shot 51.9% from the floor. He's a 50.2% career field goal shooter. He makes about half his shots. And Jeremy Grant played 9 of 26 games after the All-Star break for the Portland Trail Blazers. And the year before that, 14 of 23 for the Detroit Pistons, putting his number at 23 of the last 47 games after the All-Star break. What's more likely?
Damn, you really did some homework on that stuff.
That's why I texted you last night. Do you want to play a game? There you go.
Man. God, Nurk shooting 50% seems like I should just say that, but like I also not even sure he's gonna be a Blazer. I'll still go Nurkic.
Yeah, I think Nurk is a little safer on this because the chances that Jeremy Grant sits out again after the All-Star break seems astronomically high. Astronomically high. Like a damn near lock that Jeremy Grant gets freaking, I don't even know who the number 1 pick in 2022, bronchitis, or 2024. He gets bronchitis after the All-Star break and has to sit out for however long.
What a deal, huh? Get all that money, and basically they say, hey, you're going to get an extra 2 months of vacation, and then we might move you because it would make sense at that point. But like, what a deal for Jeremy Grant. Like, congratulate Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, big summer. Big
made the right move.
Oh my, $160 million. Woo! And you do not have to do your job in April. It's amazing. It's an amazing deal. Okay. What's more likely? Jabari Walker scores his jersey number in any game this season. That's 34. Or Chris Murray makes his jersey number in any game this season. That's 8. No Blazer rookie has ever made 8 threes in a game. So very unlikely for Chris Murray. Jabari Walker would be joining a pretty elite group. Sidney Wicks, Rookie of the Year. Jeff Petrie, Rookie of the Year. Damian Lillard, Rookie of the Year. Michael Thompson, number 1 overall pick. Lloyd Neal, Calvin Nat, Kelvin Ramsey, and Steve Coulter, who I didn't know who that was, but he played for the Blazers in the middle 80s. And I was not alive and about to be living on the other side of the country. So Jabari Walker, a 34-point game, or Chris Murray, an 8 3-pointer game?
I mean, it's entirely possible they're at the end of the season and certain guys are sitting and it's like, yo, Bari, you're playing 33 minutes tonight. Like, it's conceivable. 34 is a lot, though.
It's
like
so
for
many.
Guy,
it's too many points. Yeah, it's a
I
bad
think
question.
I think that's too many points. Like, I don't think he shoots enough to get 34, even if he feels good. So, like, and the off chance that the other half, like, we've seen guys get hot. I mean, I just saw a video of Danielle Marshall going like 11 for 11 from 3. And I'm like, oh, yeah, Danielle Marshall was a thing.
For
Chris
a long
Murray
time,
maybe
Danielle
gets
Marshall was the trivia question. He had made 13 threes in a game. It was like, who
That's
had made the most three? Yeah, Danielle Marshall was the trivia question. It was like Klay Thompson, whoever, some other great shooter, Del Curry and Steph Curry and Danielle Marshall. So yeah,
Danielle
yeah,
Marshall.
I think it's Chris Murray. I think that's right. Neither of them will happen. That's it. What's more likely, neither. But I needed a jersey number thing. Okay, this is I'm born to do pub trivia in my old days. Okay, what's more likely? Scoot Henderson breaks Kelvin Ramsey's record for most assists by a Blazer rookie set in 1980, or Nurk breaks Myers' three-point attempt record set in 15-16. That's a three-point attempt record by someone over 7 feet tall for the Blazers. 6.9 assists per game for Ramsey, and Myers Leonard took 228 three-pointers in 15-16. For context, Nurk took 119 in 53 games last year.
Scoot has a little Chris Paul in him sometimes when he gets those like handoff passes in the paint and the big guy slams it down. I think he lives for it. I'm easily picking Scoot here. I think this is an area where maybe the shooting doesn't wow everybody and we have some questions next year and maybe like off ball stuff isn't perfect. I think this is an area where if he can't shoot, he can still impact the game with his smarts, his athleticism, get around guys, understanding. I think he likes to find the big guy or the guy in the corner. So I will lean Scoot here. I think Nurkic will shoot. I don't even know. Again, I don't even know if he's going to be a Blazer. So who knows? So I'm gonna
and also like, is he going to play? He'd probably play 65 plus games to attempt 200 threes. Yeah, maybe even like 70 some games to play 200 to make two.
Not
to take
given with that
threes.
History. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, like he's also going to get bronchitis. I need to learn more players in the 2024 draft because LeBron James's child is maybe not going to be in the draft, and also certainly not going to go number 1 overall.
It seems like there's a white guy from either France or Brazil or something.
That's it. It's playing the G League Ignite. That guy.
Yeah,
the
he's
G League
like
Ignite
6'10".
guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn his name by the next time I'm on this podcast. Okay, last one. This is from a listener. What's more likely? Scoot wins Rookie of the Year. Shaedon Sharpe wins Most Improved Player. Anfernee Simons makes an All-Star team, or anyone else makes an end-of-the-season team, like Matisse makes All Defense or whatever, or like one of those things. What's more likely?
Scoot, Rookie of the Year.
By a lot, right? By a lot. That's from listener Dr. J. Yeah. By a lot. MIP for Shaden Sharp seems incredibly unlikely. Anfernee Simons makes an All-Star game really tough. People
know how the MIP works now? The MIP works where they give it to you 2 years late. Like, like Ant this year scoring 25, let's say, and you said last year 22. He averaged 3 more points. Like, that's when you give it to an Anfernee Simons.
Exactly. And no one's going to make, I don't think Matisse Thybulle's going to make All Defense or anything like that. So I think, that's Scoot Rookie of the Year. Brandon, thanks for joining us this week. It was a whole bunch of fun. Folks, if you're looking for more Brandon, turn on your radio in the mornings or listen, stream it online, 1080thefan.com. Also, check out Jacked Ramsays. They do great stuff. Appreciate you, Sprague. It was a bunch of fun.
Yeah, Richmond, it's always fun talking hoops. I have to get you on Jacked Ramsays or the radio show and dive some more in, man. It's an ever-changing landscape in this league. And, of course, the Blazers at the top right now with the Dame stuff makes it really interesting.
Yeah, either they're going to do nothing and we can keep talking about it, or the big thing's going to happen and we can talk about it. I'm in. You know where to find me. Invite me on. I'd love to be on there.
I got one more what's likely for you real quick, Richmond.
Okay, yeah.
What's more likely? Dame being traded or the Pac-12 dissolving and not existing? What happens first?
100% the Pac-12. It's dead. Prime killed it.
Right.
Coach Prime came in and murdered him dead. I mean, maybe not. Here's the thing. Here's a little parallel between the two things. If you promise and promise and promise and promise to deliver, and then you don't deliver, the thing might blow up in your face. So be careful about over-promising in public. Be careful. That's a word of advice to many people who work in sports in the Pacific time zone, anywhere here on our western coast. Brandon, thanks for listening, or thanks for joining us. Dear listeners, thanks for listening. Tell your friends about the show. Everywhere you get podcasts, also on YouTube. I appreciate you listening. I'll talk to you soon.